So I bought a new pair of boots yesterday. Yeah, I know. Must be doing something right. You know, I can hear the drum rolls now. Not even Christmas and there he is buying new boots. I just bought a new pair of boots for work, really, I suppose. You know, I had my older boots, what do you call them, work boots, construction boots, safety boots. There's a multitude of names to these boots now, aren't there? So I bought a new pair. But it's not like buying a drill, is it? I mean, if you go to buy a drill, you look and you check the specs out and you think, oh, that'll be useful. That's got a 2-year guarantee and I can get a nice colour case and that'll look great in the van or the car or whatever you carry your kit around in. And do I want a blue one? Do I want something that emblazons how well I'm doing? But people don't really pay that much attention to what boots they buy. And I did a little bit of research before I bought my boots. And I'll be honest, I didn't do a huge amount, but I did enough to look at it. And I thought, well, no, my feet are pretty important to me, really. I mean, I'm never going to score loads of goals with them, you know, but I do a fair bit of running. That's one of my things I like to do. And I don't really want to be standing on a rusty nail and losing a foot and ending up on some BBC programme with a guy that lost his foot for standing on a rusty nail. He wishes he'd bought a decent pair of work boots, you know, with a templated midsole that won't rust because it's coated with this or coated with that. But yeah, I did a little bit of research, but as I say, not as much research as I should have done. I think I'd spend more time looking at what sandwich I might eat or what I'm going to have for dinner or you know, what to plan to use the TiVo for, you know, and this thing. So I bought the boots, but obviously, as I said, for the minute, I did do a little bit of research, but not a massive amount of research. And what I found was that there are so many boots to buy, so many boots, and a lot of them are described by what colour are and what they're made of, rather than how they actually impact upon your safety, which is quite astonishing, really, because health and safety gets a really bad name with a lot of people. But you know what? I remember working on sites quite a good few years ago when people didn't have hard hats, people didn't have boots, people didn't have high vis, and you'd have the banksman, you know, smoking a fag, you know, even doing other things. I won't even say what some of these guys were doing at the time, you know, no one was paying it. And there were accidents, you know, and I'm surprised there weren't more accidents. So it's a good thing. And safety boots and hard, I don't wear a hard hat. I mean, this is not a commercial site what I'm doing. This is a small little, it's not even really a renovation. This is a small job that, you know, that I'm doing a lot more work myself than I normally would because the budget isn't there. I need to get this property rented out. I've made an investment in it. I need to get it going. I'm doing a lot more. You know, it's not a high spec job. It's getting something, put some tenants in the property to start bringing in some money. Then maybe 18 months, I'll review it, make some changes, and then do perhaps a high spec job. But it's high spec enough to me that I base. Would I live in a house that I've renovated? Would I put my kids in that house? And that's the test for me. Would I let my kids live in a house? And the answer is yes. So I wouldn't ever rent anything out to anybody that I wouldn't let my kids live in. I wouldn't put a shower in or have a shower put in that I wouldn't want my kids to use or anyway. And I think that's a standard. It's the same with my boots. Would I let my kids wear my boots? Well, no, not really. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they don't really wish to wear my boots, but it's that standard. And I think I've bought the boots, and I'm looking at wearing them on this job, and I wear them on. I mean, I do some other types of things, as people know, and you know, I have a video and film production company that I do, you know, commercial and corporate stuff for people, and my own stuff. And sometimes I'll turn up somewhere, and it could be, I don't know, in the middle of nowhere, and you think, oh, this is just a simple shoot, and they say, well, have you got any safety boots? Oh no, it's very odd. So you've got all your fancy camera kit, and you turn up, and they want you to put on your muddy concrete safety boots. And that's the thing though with the safety boots, really, is that the ones I bought were pretty basic, lovely colour. No, they were just like a brownie colour, but they're probably described as honey. Although, you know what, I could speak to guys I know, and the women I know, that they decide more about what boots they're going to buy than what colour they are. Oh, that's a lovely honey colour. It'll go really well with my jeans. And you think to yourself, you know what? Has it got an insole? Has it got strong, you know, protective thing for your metatarsals? You know, Well, this is David Beckham thought, wasn't it, really? I mean, who'd ever heard of metatarsals before David Beckham? But hey, there you go. So, as I say, the friends, they spend more time like looking at the colour of the boots and they're nice laces, aren't they? They're lovely, aren't they? They look really nice. They're lovely laces. They're lovely, them. I mean, it's I don't know, it's serious, and yet they don't bother to do it. And I tell you what, if they were buying a drill, well, some people I know would never buy a drill anyways. They constantly borrow yours and let's say burn them out for want of a better word. That is if you ever get them back from some people. But the thing is, boots, people don't tend to ask to borrow your boots, do they? Not generally. Here's a question: if your mate asked to borrow your boots and you had sweaty feet, would you lend him your boots? Good question, eh? Good question. Don't know. Would I ask my mate to borrow his boots? Not sure. Don't know. It's worth thinking about. Eh? So yes, I've got the boots. Hopefully, won't need them. But I worked out in North America, Canada for a while, a good few years ago now, and it gets really cold out there. So you do have to think about what socks you wear, your work boots, your construction boots, your safety boots, because your feet do get cold. But still, they do say then you've got to buy your thick, wintry work boot socks to keep going, and then come the summer they're too hot, so you put them away, and then become the winter you've lost them again. And it's like the cycle of life, isn't it? Christmas is coming up and you need to find your thick work boot socks. So what happens? You keep moaning about it, someone buys you another 10 pairs and you think, oh my God, not another pair of socks, oh my God. And then come the summer you've lost them again. But eventually, probably when you die, there'll be this whole thing of socks. Do you know what? And you can think they'll be in memoriam, your socks, but they won't. They just end up down the tip like everything else, because basically that's what generally happens. I mean, people say, oh, I'll save that, I'll pass that on, but they don't. It just ends up getting dumped. So, I mean, just, if you didn't realise that, I'm sorry to spoil your illusion. That's what's going to happen to your socks when people find your treasure trove of socks. But so you buy the socks. So when I worked out in North America, that was, you did need to kind of think about not only buying your work boots for protection, and they were a bit hotter out there with things like that, that you needed to make sure that your safety was up, and you had to think about insulation because your feet did get cold. And I used to work with concrete, pouring concrete and underpinning and kind of heavy stuff, and you really didn't want to get wet feet. So if you didn't have Wellington boots, for pouring, you damn sure you didn't get your leather. I mean, Kodiak is a brand out there that's very popular, and there's a place called Kingman or Kingdon, or I can't remember what they were called. Now they were popular. But, a thicker type of boot, more like a Timberland type thing, I suppose. But so if you did, as I say, I worked with concrete, and if anybody's, most people work with concrete at some point, it just rots everything, doesn't it? It just rots all your laces, rots all everything. So if you didn't hose that down and get your boots soaking wet for the next day, you end up with rotting boots in about 3 weeks. It's nearly as bad as if everybody's worked the old shovel, rubbing a boot against it. Rubbing a shovel thing against the stitches on boots, they just come undone, and that's it. So you've got to take care of your boots. If you take care of your boots will take care of you, as they say. And as they say in China, I mean, the longest journey begins with the shortest step, and that's it's a tricky thing, really. I've got the boots now. I'd only sit here and do this vlog, really, and go and put my boots on and do any work. So I said to myself, I'll just retest that and talk about boots and talk about things I've seen on site. If that person had a pair of steel toe cap boots on, he wouldn't have broken his toe. Because I did see a small piece of wood fall. I don't know if I actually saw it fall, but the guy I knew, it hit his foot. It was probably about 40 feet up that the piece of wood came down, and he broke his foot. I don't know what he broke in his foot, I can't remember, and he broke his foot. And there's always the apocryphal things about people that have stood on things and got septicemia and the rest of it. And so I shall insist upon wearing my boots on this job, and I hope they look after me really well. And if anybody's interested, they're a honey colour. I might do an unboxing on the part of this thing just to break it up, so people don't have to just listen to me rambling on about my boots.